In 1966, a single goal changed football history forever, without a single replay. But today, in 2026, we track the ball down to the absolute millimeter. Let's dive right into this explainer. We're going to contrast Geoff Hurst's historic 1966 World Cup goal with modern, semi-automated tracking. And the big question we really need to answer is, did we lose something magical along the way? It really is the core conflict of our era, right? Think back to 1966. England's Geoff Hurst blasts a shot against West Germany in the World Cup final. It crashes down from the crossbar. There were no goal line cameras, no sensors. The referee literally just guessed. And you know what? People are still passionately arguing if it fully crossed the line. But fast forward to 2026, and the ball itself is packed with technology, transmitting its exact position dozens of times every single second. A disputed goal like Hurst's, it would be resolved in mere seconds today. But here's the thing. For decades, that ambiguity wasn't a bug. It was a feature. Even 20 years later, in 1986, some of the most iconic moments in sports relied heavily on human error. Take Diego Maradona's infamous quarterfinal goal against England, where the referee totally missed his handball. Maradona famously said it was scored a little with the head of Maradona and a little with the hand of God. It is this legendary piece of football folklore that, honestly, simply couldn't happen with the technology we have today. So let's jump back to 1966 and see how this all builds up. Because back then, the chaos wasn't just happening on the pitch. It was off it, too. It was an era where the fate of an entire tournament could hinge on the most bizarre, unpredictable events imaginable. So, quick trivia for you. Who actually saved the 1966 World Cup before a single match was even played? Believe it or not, the answer is Pickles the dog. Yeah, the heroes of the past were completely uncalculated. The Jules Rimet trophy was actually stolen from an exhibition in London right before the tournament. It was a massive national emergency. But a few days later, a guy named Dave Corbett is walking his dog, Pickles, and the dog sniffs out the World Cup trophy, tightly wrapped in newspaper, just sitting under a tree. It's this completely absurd, beautiful moment of history that perfectly sets the tone for an era where absolutely nothing was perfectly controlled. Which brings us to the blueprint of greatness, chaos and comebacks. You see, that raw human unpredictability carried right over into the matches themselves. The 1966 tournament was packed with shocking moments that completely defied all sporting logic. Take North Korea, for example. They were tournament debutantes, and they pulled off an absolutely incredible upset against a heavily favored Italian squad, beating them 1-0 to reach the quarterfinals. I mean, the idea of an established powerhouse like Italy losing to a debuting nation, it was unimaginable. The beautiful game was just beautifully chaotic. And that massive upset set the stage for one of the greatest individual rescue missions in sports history. North Korea goes on to face Portugal, and they stun everyone again by taking a 3-0 lead in just 25 minutes. But then, Portugal's superstar, Eusebio, steps up and single-handedly flips the entire script. He scores 4 consecutive goals, completely shattering the North Korean dream and driving Portugal to a sensational 5-3 victory. To this day, that performance is the absolute blueprint for the kind of individual greatness our 2026 stars are constantly trying to replicate. And it wasn't just about explosive goal scoring either. That era celebrated sheer, gritty human endurance. 5. That is the staggering number of World Cups Mexico's goalkeeper Antonio Carvajal played in between 1950 and 1966. Think about that for a second. In an era without modern sports science, without personalized nutrition or high-tech recovery cycles, playing at the highest level for over 16 years was deemed almost physically impossible. It was a pure triumph of raw human will. So how do we pivot from that chaotic magic to our modern reality? Let's look at the era of system optimization, moving from the three-lion spirit to tactical science. The contrast here is truly fascinating. England's bulletproof 1966 victory, that 4-2 win over West Germany, remains their only weight of gold achievement, and it was driven by Captain Bobby Moore, raw three-lion spirit, and Geoff Hurst's incredible individual hat trick. Now, fast forward to the 2026 squad led by Harry Kane, the key metrics aren't just spirit anymore. We're talking sprint frequency metrics, pressing intensity, and advanced passing networks. We've effectively traded folklore for tactical science. And let's break down this 2026 reality for a moment. We are dealing with a massive, massive global industry now. 48 competing teams, billions of viewers around the world, advanced tactical analytics, and AI-assisted scouting. Today, analysts study tens of thousands of actions from practically every player before the tournament even kicks off. Teams arrive with perfectly optimized systems designed to control every single inch of the pitch. Yet, as calculated as it all is, the magic isn't completely dead. 15. That's how many saves Curaçao's goalkeeper Eloy Room made in a single match against Ecuador in 2026, earning the debutants their first ever World Cup point. It was a record-breaking performance, and it proves that even in the face of AI scouting and perfectly calibrated passing networks, individual heroics still desperately matter. But all of this brings us to a real philosophical crossroads about the ultimate prize. It's the pursuit of perfection versus the beauty of the game. Modern analysts will quickly argue that 2026 players are physically superior to the legends of the past, with their output mathematically maximized. But as we've seen time and time again, absolute efficiency and true beauty aren't always the exact same thing. And here is the real irony of our technological age. We thought machines would stop the arguments, right? Well, they didn't. Controversy hasn't died, it just moved. We've gone from the massive historic question of did Jeff Hurst's ball actually cross the line to the microscopic debate of was his shoulder offside by 2 centimeters. We haven't eliminated controversy with microchips, we've just shrunk it down to a scale that leaves players and fans standing around, waiting for a computer's verdict. Which leads us to a really vital takeaway. We need to protect the illusion. Because ultimately, while technology might guarantee absolute fairness and instantly settle the score, it completely strips away that immediate, visceral roar of a stadium. Think about it. In 1966, the referee pointed to the center circle, the crowd absolutely exploded, and history was made in an instant. Now, the crowd holds its breath for 2 excruciating minutes while a semi-automated system draws lines on a screen. So I'm going to leave you with this to ponder. As we perfect the science of the sport, as we track every single millimeter of the ball and the players, have we accidentally engineered the magic right out of it? Is it possible that the greatest controversies, the human errors, were actually what made the beautiful game so beautiful in the first place? Definitely something to think about the next time you're waiting for a VAR check. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and keep questioning the science behind the magic.